will ever think that on the head council of the National Party, a boy of Montiel sits with all these ministers, with all these VIPs? To me, they were VIPs. Now I'm in the same room as VIPs. So that for me was achievement. Just opposite me, David de Villiers, M.W. de Klerk, all those guys in the same meeting. And then I just told myself, I want to finish my qualifications. I want to have a job where I can take care of my family. I think it's most probably in every person's mind that I would love to provide for my family. So then I started to study more. Nelson Mandela said the important thing, if you want to get out of poverty, education is the tool to get out of poverty. So that is some of the stuff that inspires me. And I want to leave a legacy that people will see. I can achieve. If I don't have, I can achieve. Okay. After leaving school at standard 8, the only job I could get as a young boy, colored boy from Montiel, was to work as a cleaner. Working as a cleaner in Parliament Towers, taking the 4 o'clock train in the morning to start at 5:30, so that the offices are all clean before the bosses came. I used to scrub the toilets on my knees, but I had a desire that I wanted more in life. You know, working with the overall, green overall, people look down on you. You know, you're good for nothing. You above the floors, and you're just ignored. You're just somebody and no identity. And you feel bad about it, but I had to work. I had to do something. And working and working and working, day in and day out. And then one day I did something. I think I worked early in the morning, and the bosses didn't like, my attitude, wanted to get everything done, and you must work on Saturdays as a youngster. They asked me to go work then in Sea Point to clean block of flats in Sea Point. I then said no. I was only earning 80 Rand a week, and then they wanted to take me to Sea Point for 60 Rand a week. I said no, that I do not want to do. And then I stayed home for 3 days, and Mr. Magoli in Firethorn Street, where I stayed, said to me, there's a job for you as a security guard in the docks. 12 hours as a young man working for 12 hours, 6 in the morning till 6 at night, and then from 6 at night, 6 morning and 6 night till 6 in the morning in the Cape Town docks for Irvin and Johnson. That wasn't good for me because no social life, nothing. You work. And I said, what can I do? And one day, my friend said to me, listen, there's an opening as a law enforcement officer and apply. I applied, but I only had a standard 8 certificate. And I applied for the job, and they said there was 700 people applying for the job, and there was 30 posts advertised. So I applied. And then my friend came to me and said to me, listen, the first interviews is on the Monday, the second on the Wednesday, and the third on the Friday. The Friday, he gave me a call. He said, were you called for the interview? I said, no. He said, listen, they're doing the last interviews. I put on my suit, 3-piece suit, and I went. I asked, where's the interviews? They said, the interviews is out in Sea Point. I went to Sea Point, and there I was, not telephoned, not asked to come for the interview. I'm there for an interview with my 3-piece suit. I stood there, and Mr. Van Dalen, he was the assistant director, he read out all the names. He said, whose name did not read out this morning? I said, me, sir. He said, who are you? I said, I'm Ferlon Christians. Did we phone you? I said, no, you didn't phone me. But I think because I was nicely dressed, they said, give him an opportunity. And I got the job. I worked there for 9 years as a law enforcement officer. But you also know with a law enforcement officer, it's weekends, it's night shifts, and now I'm married and I have young children and I'm not at home, and I was looking for something better. I worked there for 9 years, and when I worked part-time not for a salary, but I worked looking at political aspirations. This is where I want to be politically. So I started to canvass, go to meetings, doing branch meetings and all. You know what a politician will do. You go and canvass, you learn from the best. And then Patrick McKenzie, he was my mentor. I used to work with him. When he's away, I used to take his combi, pick up people, canvass, work. So I had my daytime job as a law enforcement officer. And then in the evening, every evening, Mondays to Thursdays, I used to go pick up people, volunteer to go work in communities every night, because I was passionate about what God has called me to become one day. So I worked. And then, strangely enough, 1993, we had the elections in 94. 1993, the National Party, Willem Doorman, he was the first speaker in the legislature. He asked me, he said, Ferlon, do you want to go to Parliament, National Parliament, because you're working so hard? I said, I didn't work for that. So I refused to make myself available to be a candidate for the National Party. So when Patrick McKenzie became Western Cape Minister of Police, those days it was Minister of Police, 94 to 96. 94 he called me and said, I want you to work in my office. And that is how I started again with working in an office, working, studying, matriculating and doing all my degrees as I knew I needed that. After Patrick McKenzie, I became administrative officer in the Department of Local Government Housing. I became senior administrative officer, working with legislation, working with municipalities. And then I became assistant director, working there for a period of time. And then after that, I was headhunted by the Independent Democrats, Batista Law. They wanted me to be their chief executive officer. And I started there, leaving the Department of Local Government Housing, working for the ID. But the CEO was more in charge of the constituency officers, running the personnel, running all the administrative tasks. But I sometimes jumped in my car when we had a by-election in various places. I jumped in my car and I went to go sleep in the feast on the end to help with the by-election. Again, with Macassar, I jumped in my car, went to go help. Paarl, there was a by-election in Paarl, and I then went there, and strangely enough, the mayor now there, and I just cannot come to his name now, but the mayor Poole, he's the mayor now. So he was the candidate in the by-election 2005. And I used to drive down to Paarl to go teach him how to speak. And today is the mayor of Paarl. So that desire was always there. And after that, leaving the ID, I went into full-time ministry. Wanted to do something for our people. Wanted to work in communities. I used to walk the streets of Manenberg, telling people about, there's hope. And I saw this enormity of this task. It's a church, being a pastor, I will not be able to bring about change. And I went on this fast, seeking God, what must I do to bring about change? And the Holy Spirit recruited me for the ACDP. 2011, I then got the ACDP, joined as a member, and it must be God, because March I became the mayoral candidate, June I became the council in the city of Cape Town, and November I became the leader, and still today the leader. I then was a councillor from 2011 to 2014. 2014 I was elected into the Western Cape Provincial Parliament, as we call it, and I'm still here. I served on various committees, but my commitment and passion is still there. And now I am in a position where we can speak for the people, speak about the injustices. And that is my passion and my dream, to see communities transform, so that this is the South Africa, the beautiful South Africa that we all long and wish for. Yeah, as a person, I was always very much dedicated to do something with my life. I think the first proud moment for me was when I saw my mother with a chef uniform. You know, it's something that was achieved in our lifetime. And then I didn't realize, how important it is to have goals, have milestones. And I then, when I became a law enforcement officer, my mother used to, be proud of me, walk around with pictures of me, and all of those things. So you start to realize how important it is to achieve something. But just, that just gave me the idea or something to motivate me going forward. We still call it in the old days JC, Junior Certificate, when I received my Junior Certificate. That was a big thing, because nobody had any qualifications when it comes to a JC. And with a JC, you could still walk into a job with a JC. Matric, I think, I don't know if we thought that matric was too far away or something is not achievable. But then I structured my life, and I structured in such a way that I used to pat myself on the shoulder and say, well done, you've achieved. And I became somebody that loved to achieve in life. So there's a couple of achievements that I want to highlight. I mean, who will ever think that on the head council of the National Party, a boy of Monty sits with all these ministers, with all these VIPs. To me, they were VIPs. Now I'm in the same room as VIP. So that for me was achievement. Just opposite me, David de Villiers, M. de Klerk, all those guys in the same meeting. And then I just told myself, I want to finish my qualifications. I want to have a job where I can take care of my family. I think it's most probably in every person's mind that I would love to provide for my family. So then I started to study more. I first did a diploma in theology, a 3-year diploma, going to class, walking to class, and our classes were on a Monday, on a Tuesday and Thursday, and I used to attend those classes. And I was the only person who graduated from that college this year. Everybody did not graduate. They took their qualifications over 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. I'm the only one that completed the qualification theology degree in 3 years. The only person graduating. Can you imagine the only person graduating and graduating with a distinction? So that for me was a major achievement. I spoke to the people in college and they said, I think it's only the second time it ever happened where one person graduates. Then I decided, let's do a degree in theology, and I've done a degree in theology, and that for me was achievement. But when you are an achiever, you want to achieve more. I've done a certificate in like an honors at the Wits School of Governance, Governance and Leadership. I've done a master's in public and political science, and then I also did wrote a book, but part of my thesis was the political degree I did, because I always wanted to go into politics, so I had to do a political degree, because people say you qualified as a pastor or whatever the case may be, and I don't have the appropriate qualification, and that's why I studied political science and I wrote a book, another achievement, to guide youngsters to become politicians or councillors. So I have quite a number of achievements. I always remember that, when you walk the streets, when you talk to people, and they cannot believe. Some of these old people are still there in Bondeville, they're still alive, and for them, it's a great honor that somebody out of Bondeville achieved much in life. So yes, achievement for me is important, but more important is that the people in the townships, people wherever you are, you can break the barriers of poverty. You can break. I'll never forget what I cannot remember exactly the quotation, but Nelson Mandela said the important thing. If you want to get out of poverty, education is the tool to get out of poverty. So that is some of the stuff that inspires me, and I want to leave a legacy that people will see. I can achieve. If I don't have, I can achieve whatever I have. So that is my achievements, and I'm very proud and honored to be even the leader of the ACDP in the Western Cape, being on the national executive of the ACDP. It's achievements that we can only dream of, but I have accomplished that dream, and I've got more. I've got more milestones and achievements that I want to achieve in my lifetime. And I know with the God-given talent and ability I will achieve more. And the next generation will see that you can become the Premier of the Western Cape. You can become the President of South Africa. You can become a minister. You can become a medical doctor. These things were just figments of our imagination. Now it's reality.